You know what, I believe, you have agents and you have managers, and they are actively looking for new job opportunities, and they read tons of scripts. And then you have a director, in our case Conor, who has a short list of actors that he could see play the lead role of Jake. And the two worlds come together. I'm not sure if Conor reached out to my people or if my people had read the script and submitted myself for the role of Jake. But it ended up me taking a meeting with Conor, and I read the script. I loved the script, so I wanted to do it right away. And then Conor I don't think he knew much about me, so he wanted to meet me in person. Obviously in Twilight I only had so many lines, so he just wanted to see what kind of person I was, especially if you're working with someone. You don't want it to feel like work. You want to make sure that everything's going to go great on set, and that this person can pull off the physicality as well as the acting chops. So I met with him, and I fell in love with him. And he's a really amazing director. He's great to work with, but just a really great guy. So that's why we're friends to this day. I don't think I've really become friends with directors too often, but it just kind of just worked out, and we both loved each other for the roles, and the group gathering, and then also getting Mickey Rourke for Malik. I'd worked with him on Immortals, but I never had scenes with him, so I always felt a bit cheated. And he's a legend. I just wanted a scene, at least to have it out there to show my kids, like, yeah, I worked with him. So when Conor and I agreed to do the movie together, we started thinking about other actors, and I was just like, what about Mickey? And so we sent it to his team. We did meetings, and I'm very grateful that he decided to do it, because it wouldn't have been the same without him.
This is a very physical role for you. I mean, and not just because you had your shirt off, but the action sequences. Did you have to train, especially, shoot guns and?
Well, I love action movies. I love being physical. That is one of my strong suits. Crying on camera, probably not one of my strong suits. Some people are just good at different things. You can always work towards it, but I'd rather play towards my strengths, which are more physical, action-packed roles. And with training in the numerous movies and projects that I've done, especially military-based ones, I just have a draw to it. I think our military, they're heroes to me. I didn't grow up really, admiring musicians or actors or anyone as like a hero, or even sports athletes. But the military, our military, maybe that's because my brother's in the Marines and my stepfather was in the Air Force, but people were saving lives, and I watched G.I. Joe, and I'm like, those are our heroes. So I always wanted to play a hero before I got into acting or knew what acting was. So I looked for projects where I could play the hero, and I'd done Generation Kill, which I played a Marine for 7 months, depicting the invasion in Baghdad. And they put us through boot camp, and I loved it. Some actors quit. Some actors just couldn't do it. But for me, it's like you learn all the tactical positions for the guns and NVGs and how to use your comms and the radio slurs. And so you take that knowledge into the next project. And I remember, when I did this movie, I was always tucking in my shoelaces. And I remember one person, and I'd rather just show so much respect to anyone who I'm portraying, and if I'm depicting them, that I had someone say, I had a military buddy of my brother's say, I didn't see a lace out. I didn't see a lace out. Good job. He didn't care about the movie. He didn't care. He thought it was an awesome movie, but he has no biasness as far as what's a great movie, Oscar-winning movie. He was just like, dude, this is the best movie. Your laces weren't out once. And so that meant a lot to me. And it's all about just, educating myself. But for this one, it's not like I'm doing judo right now with 8711 stunt guys. That's tough. Using someone else's weight and mixed martial arts. I'm an active guy. I've never felt so stupid and just not understanding because I'm like, they make it look so simple and they're all ninjas over there. But for this movie, there was no special training as far as anything that just like I've known before. And it was really just a giant choreography session of like learning the dance of the fight scenes. And then, okay, now jump out the window. Okay, now run on the roof. Now jump down. Now hit the guy. Now jump on the motorcycle. Now flip him off. And, so it's just, it's fun. It's fun.
Well, in case no one else gets to it, early this morning it came through the Hollywood Reporter that you got Hercules 3D, which is
dreams coming true.
Yeah. It's a big budget film, and Perez Hilton was very excited that was going to be in 3D with your shirt off. I just saw that tweet before I came in here. Can you explain what that's all about? I mean, it's a huge budget film.
Yeah, it is, and I'm very excited for that. Much like Tarzan was, I have dream projects that I'm able to try and fulfill, and you know, Hercules, especially working with Rennie Harlan, he's an amazing director. He's an amazing man. You know, I love taking meetings with different people. Thanks to Twilight, it's really opened up so many doors for me to create my own material in action movies, but then also position myself for dream roles. And that's where it's really good to be choosy, and it's tough to be choosy. And it's tough to get the itch of feeling unemployed and passing on so many projects when you don't have to. And I'm glad I did because it feels right, and I'd rather work where it doesn't feel like work and you're doing it because your heart's into it. And sitting down with Rennie and seeing his vision, and then you know just really connecting on a mentor level, as he is the one helming this ship, and then auditioning for it and working my butt off. And you know, this is something that I really, really want, and it really shows that hard work pays off. And you know, now it's horseback training, sword fighting. You know, I'm gonna work on an accent because I don't want to be contemporary, but I know that, you know, I'm not British, so that's not gonna come naturally. So I just want to work and make the most real Hercules I can. I know Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's doing one as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's massive. The great thing about our story is it's more organic, and he's not. And like even talking with Rennie, I love putting on weight. I'd feel more Hercules-ish if I just could be like Twilight size again. He's like, don't worry about that. You know, just cut up if you want. You know, if you can, just cut up. You don't need to be massive. We're telling the story of a man who doesn't feel like he is part God. You know, so there's doubt, and there's a lot of human traits in that, and a lot of things that we can relate to when you just don't feel like you are good enough, where, you know, you feel like the world's against you and you feel alone. And it's the journey of finding your real potential that I love about the script. It's not me, you know, it's not Wrath of the Titans-esque, which I love. I wish I could fight some giant monsters, but there's something special about this one, and it's still going to be huge. There's a lot of really great fight scenes, and the story's amazing, but it's real, and that's what really drew me to it.
Are there any co-stars yet?
I don't know. You know what? I'm in the dark. I don't even know when I'm trying to pack, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got to get on it." Rennie's so funny. He's like, I don't have the script yet because it's changing a little bit. You know, I've been putting myself through a bunch of training myself because it's just coming together super fast, and you know, I'm going out there in about a week, and then we want to shoot May 8th, I believe. So it's coming in where I would want 4 months of training just to do the best job I can. Rennie has a lot of faith in me, so I really appreciate it. But it's a lot of pressure, but I'm all for it. I'm really excited, and you know, we have a great group of producers working on this one, and people already in Bulgaria because they shot Conan there, so they really have everything set up nice for me to come there and then get to work. You know, I'm excited for it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we understand the gummy bears that you have there.
Why?
Because you are trying to gain weight.
Yeah, well, this is not helping with the cut. That's for sure.
Yeah, the accent threw me off yesterday, but I was like, okay, just go with it. Just don't ask any questions
Oh,
about the
gosh.
accent on the red carpet.
How bad was it?
It was pretty good, I guess.
Bless your heart. I'm trying.
Well, my question is about Java Heat. Back to Java Heat. It seemed like a very international film. Where did you guys shoot, and what was that like for you?
Well, Indonesia is a mysterious land that I had no idea existed, until 3 years ago. I'm pretty worldly. I love traveling. I love what I do because it enables me to travel and allows me to go to parts of the world that I never knew existed. I think that's one of the best luxuries that we could spend money on this day is just travel. See parts of the world and explore and expand your mind and just becoming more worldly. And that's where, like, every place I go, you can see, like, a lot of my charities that I work with, like being in Africa, Invisible Children, or like Charity Water, like, you can read about them and you can see pictures online, but until you've actually been somewhere to experience it, your heart connects to it and you really feel like you are making a difference. And so that's like with Indonesia, going there and seeing the culture itself. I could look at pictures, but now after being there and see, like, you can see that there's not clean water in parts of the world. And with shooting on, I think, 32 different locations, I got to see Jogja and Jakarta and Borobudur Temple, which I never knew existed, while shooting. So in a way, it was like a paid fun vacation because I'm living out my dream of doing an action movie. I love the script. I'm traveling the world, and I'm working with the most humble, most appreciative people I've ever worked with. And the culture in Indonesia, it's all about love. Like, really, these people, they don't have much, and it makes me really kind of upset with myself when I come back to the States and I complain about, getting a flat tire. Like, I'm lucky to have a car. And, going back there, and I made so many new friends, and we just take a lot for granted, especially on, like, productions with movies. Just a lot of the great things that we have, and them over there, like, they're working longer hours than we legally can here in the States, and they're all happy for it, and so loving, and learning Bahasa, the language there that they spoke. I love languages, and I love coming home with some new, part of a language. Again, I'm not fluent with it, but, being able to speak their language and learn about their culture from them and understand it is what, like, I'm really into.
So did you, while you were over there, obviously it sounds like you got a chance to do some exploring on your own. Did you get to do much of that?
I went to Bali. I had like 3 days off, and I never knew how close Bali was to where I was shooting, and treated myself. And a buck goes a long way there. It really does, and it's a humbling place. Like, I really just encourage people to go to places like Indonesia, and you see how much. You get a great steak for $5 and then you tip. Like, I couldn't tip 50 cents. That just feels weird. Tip 10% or 20%. So, like, you tip $5, because $5 isn't much. And your server breaks down, crying, like, thanking you. And, like, it is such a humbling experience to see appreciation in that fashion. And, for me, it's like everywhere was a treat. Everywhere was somewhere where, like, even the shopping in the cities, and really Borobudur Temple, we stayed in this resort where my backyard was the temple. I could see it, and it's just so spiritual. And the people are I know the cities are a bit ran down in some places, but there's a unity and camaraderie with the people, and a love that I feel like sometimes I don't see as much. Maybe it's where I live or the industry I'm in, but it's always refreshing going to places like Indonesia, and I'm excited to go back there just to refresh myself.
So being in a foreign country, I'm assuming a lot of funny things happen. So.
Why would you
share-
assume that?
I don't know. I think the language barrier can be something that guides you to a funny story. So is that a memorable experience that you have there, that it was fun for you? Or even in the set, just working with these crazy actors. Or being naked, let's put it.
That was funny. Yeah, that was actually a really funny day on set. Just because, yeah, we had that naked scene, but I had like put a giant sock on, and it was like a nude colored sock. And Hashim, Ario comes in, and he like knows we're doing the naked scene, and he doesn't. He like it's meant that I'm supposed to turn and do the whole like flashing him. And as I'm turning, it's the first take, it's a closed down set, I have this giant, like, nude sock. Like I had elephantitis. And, you know, he's turning, he's doing his thing, and he turns to me as I'm in his face, his reaction, and he just started busting out laughing. And that was probably the funniest day on set. And to this day, I still have that sock, which is fun. It's just in the memory drawer. And I always laugh, and I just moved actually a couple of months ago, and I saw it again. I was like, "This is so funny." But yeah, you know, we just had a great cast, and you know, I had an assistant who got me in trouble by saying words to people, and nothing bad, but they'd be like hitting on you words, and like "akuchinta but that's "I love you." But then he'd like tell me, what did he tell me? He'd always tell me to say it to like an elderly mom, and they would always blush. So I never really understood what it was, but they always liked it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I understand that you're from Dickinson, North Dakota
Yes, sir.
originally. I actually spent some time in Beulah, which is not terribly far from there, as far as at least an hour and a half, which is, considering it's North Dakota, an hour and a half is a short drive town to town. How does a man go from being in a small town, obscure town, North Dakota, to becoming the star of Java Heat and the future star of Hercules 3D?
God's grace, right there. You know, I have no idea. You know, my parents separated when I was young, and my mom took us south to like Iowa and then Denver, Colorado, and landed in Arizona, remarried. You know, a lot of stuff in my life that's happened, it wasn't from me. It wasn't of my doing or my choice in a way, but I loved it. Like even the whole acting thing. I never knew what acting was until I was 18. Like I never really watched movies. I never even thought like Brad Pitt was someone. And I think it was just naiveness and I guess a bit ignorance. I just didn't care. I didn't care about it so much. And I honestly thought that it was like NASCAR where you had to know someone. Like your parents had to have done it. So then once I moved to LA and I was going to college for chemical engineering, I just fell into it because everyone was an actor in LA. I remember working with my father at his real estate firm doing input of just numbers. And everyone sitting next to him in his cubicles, older people, they had headshots. And I knew what a headshot was for modeling. I got into modeling at age 14 because I needed money. And someone said, you should try it. And I made $500 for like a Dillard's ad. And at the time I was mowing lawns for $5 a lawn. So it was like a blessing to get in, and I got in with Ford models, and I thought Ford was a car dealership. So I'm like, again, like all this stuff, like, all right, I'll send it to a car dealership. Am I gonna model cars? Like I really had no idea what I was doing, but it was a blessing again, like just was blessed with that opportunity, blessed with acting, and I put all the trust into that, and put school aside, put the full ride aside. My mom hated my guts for a long time for doing that, and then she came back around. But then, you know, I love it. I found a passion. I really found something that was hidden deep down that I never knew existed. I was a middle child, so I always was a performer, and I got no attention from anyone else. So I always felt like I was performing, you know, on the farm or just doing anything to entertain myself. And then Twilight came around. I didn't want to do Twilight, not because I didn't like it or anything. I just had done Generation Kill for 7 months in Africa. I wanted a break. I wanted to see my dogs. I have a great team who are a blessing in my life. Like, it's really important to know, to have a great team who respects you and you respect them, and there's trust and loyalty. And so I have, that's the longest answer to your question. I have no idea how I'm where I'm here or how I got here. I know there's a reason for it, and I'm happy to see it through until, it's my time. I love what I do.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good.
You touched on this a little bit about what it was like to work with veteran actor Mickey Rourke. Can you share with us a little bit on whether you felt like you learned anything from watching him work? I know you were the lead character, but just, with his experience, did he share any advice with you on how to survive, a long-term career in this business?
Oh, Mickey. He would say a lot of things. Half of it I couldn't understand. The other half, I think there was another time period before TMZ, before everyone had camera phones, where he would just tell stories. I'm just like, man, you had it good. You had it good. He's Mickey Rourke. I think there's some actors who are just them, and that's what works. And you can't copy it. Can't copy it. So the advice that he said would not work, because his advice was like, just don't give a F, and say whatever you want. Conor doesn't mind what's on the script, and he'd say whatever, but it'd work. And that's what would work for his character. He's very respectful. He'd give Conor, or try and give Conor a hard time, but not really, because I've heard stories about Mickey, and he was completely the opposite of any story I heard. He was a really great guy to work with, really respectful. He respected Conor, probably because Conor wasn't scared of Mickey, and this was Conor's baby. But everyone was just in it to win it, and Mickey was just a really cool guy, a really cool guy. So he didn't really give me advice. He always said, you're doing a good job, kid. And that was the coolest thing.
Okay. Okay, I'll ask a question. Because you did have plans to study engineering, do you find that you apply those critical thinking skills or that methodical thinking to your roles?
All the freaking time. It is the most frustrating thing ever. I'm so analytical. I just think I'm in my head when I'm delivering lines. Instead of being reactive, it's the hardest thing for me to break, just because I think it's left-brained or left-minded, whatever you call it, where I just overthink. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm doing a scene, this is something, again, I love what I do because I'm always getting better. Personally, I feel that way in my craft, and I'm always learning, and I've come a long way, which, it really means a lot to myself. But I think a lot. And if it's I picked up this pen, every time I said a certain word, I would do it just to do it. And you need continuity, but also you need to do it as if it was the first time, every single time, versus me knowing it. So it's my own personal downfall, I guess, a lot of actors have. But I do overthink. I take that overthinking a little too far when it's so simple. A lot of things are so simple. You just gotta let it be in the moment.
Okay.
Pisces.
So
Is that what it is?
I know you have a clothing line. It's at Bloomingdale's, is that right?
Abbott and Maine, it's online. It's in Nordstrom's,
Nordstrom.
a big time, and Bloomingdale's and Scoop, I think.
How's that doing? Do you have, what are your plans as far as future? of
Again,
that?
a blessing. I love fashion, and I was able to team up with Danny Gez, who created William Rass with Justin Timberlake, and he had his denim line called Dylan George, and we decided to do a tops line, a knit line. And for me, I like shopping, but I have a hard time finding Kellan stuff. And it's very simple. It's really just a core line. It's all about the fabrications and the hand of the material, and we use Supreme cottons. I had no idea what these words were, but the Supreme cottons and tri-blends. I would just bring Danny my stuff and be like, I love how this feels, can we make a lot of that? And so he would educate myself, and then we started making the line. And I moved to Venice, California, and that's where the name comes from. Just because it does not feel like LA. It just doesn't, it feels like it has its own energy, its own fluidity. The girls walking down the street, like there's a nice breeze, so they all look like fairies or angels. And they all have like 5 layers on, and I was just like, that's beautiful. I'm not a guy who likes a girl wearing nothing or slim to nothing. That's not beautiful to me. I like someone who can wear a lot of stuff, and it's all about the layering and the fabrications, and for you to feel comfortable, and that's what I'm about. Like, I'm a big guy, and when I first did my first red carpet, and I had people telling me, you need the tight jeans and the tight shirt, and I'm like restricted and trying to give an interview. I just didn't feel like me, and that's the most important part. I need to feel like me. That means I need to be comfortable in what I'm wearing so I can be comfortable in life. And now with the line, we launched about 2 years ago, and we did the men's line and the women's line. Obviously, women shop more, so we have about 3 times the amount of SKUs with it. And I love designing the women's line. And we first started with the women's line, but then it would have been kind of weird, so we jumped back on the men's line so I could promote something as well. But yeah, right now it's killing it. It's weird because we have a great design team, and I'm a part of everything and doing suggestions, but they're bringing stuff like, I don't know what's...
You take photos for it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what they're seeing on the shirt is something you've gone out and physically done.
Especially with the colors and with the graphics, it's stuff that me and my roommate, he's not my roommate anymore, but we would go around Venice and we would just have fun taking pictures of stuff and making real life images and inspirations. And also with the girls, yes, I'd just take pictures of stuff, and I'd go shopping, or I'd see what girls are wearing, and I'd bring it to, our design gal, and be like, what is this? And what is it called? And why is it like this? And then she'd bring stuff to show me. But the thing about the clothing industry is that it's always evolving. So we're just launching spring right now, but we've been working on it for 6 months. And it's not like electronics where you can make one iPod and, you make 2 designs of it and you sell tons of it. We're making tons of things, and but I'm really excited right now. We're doing a yoga line, and then we're gonna do like a loungewear line, and that's after we just did our collaboration with Creative Rec Shoes, because I love shoes, and I want some watches because I love watches, and just I love yoga and I love lounging around. So it's all stuff that's like within my wheelhouse. I would never do suits. I never say never, but I don't want to do everything. I wanted to do just what's core Kellan.
I have a real quick question and then the real question. Whose idea was it in the movie to turn down the Twilight DVDs in the market?
It wasn't the turn down aspect, it was more like saying Twilight, because when I was there, and it was funny because Conor and I, when I was over there, TV I didn't understand, right? So I had to get some movies, and I didn't know that they bootlegged so many of them. But I was able to catch up on so many movies over there for so cheap. So it's kind of nice just to have all the movies there. And then I saw movies that hadn't even been out in the U.S. yet. So I was like, this is awesome. Like Java Heat's out there right now. It's out in Indonesia. It's being pirated, but it's not here. It's not here and again, don't do that, don't steal. But it was just really cool. And so Conor and I, because we saw Twilight there, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Just to throw it out as homage to being in Twilight. And it got laughs. It was great watching it with an audience and having them do it. And I'm glad he put it in subtitles so no one missed it. Yeah, it's fun. And it's been such a big part of my life, so it's great to continue on with having that around.
The real question is, I understand you did a lot of your own stunts and you had some bloody scenes.
Yes.
Did you get hurt?
I didn't break anything. I bled a lot. What were some of the bigger ones? I mean, I gotta say, when I was kicking, look, we shot a practical movie. So it was the first time that I put like gel, like fire gel on, where they shoot a fireball and just to prevent you from lighting yourself on fire. That's when we jumped in the hot tub, and that smoke in there, like I felt like we all got pneumonia inside that place, or whatever you get from breathing in smoke. But during the cop car, when I was in the cop car and it gets crashed and starts rolling, and I have to kick out the front gate, usually in studio movies, they probably put like a fake metal gate in there. You know, we had that one cop car, maybe we had two. I think that was the only one. But it was a metal gate, and I had it. That's why you see me like kicking so hard, and I'm kicking. I got like a sprained ankle from kicking it. Then like I thought it was open enough to get my hand in there, because in the scene I had to grab the gun and, you know, be Jason Bourne and kill these guys, and that's where Hashim's like, oh, this guy's no teacher. So I'm like trying to get my hand in there, and these are just, it's like claws. And I posted a photo on one of my media facets, and you know, they put fake blood on there because you're doing this scene all night. So I had to shove my hand in there, and it's just scratching, then you have to turn and shoot the gun, and you just doing it over and over again, so they put fake blood on there. So at the end of the night, you wash up to clean up. They're washing it off, and there's so much blood, real blood, and like scratches. And so I took a photo of that. But that's probably the bloodiest. I was on that set, and you get hurt, you know, you jump from really high, or you get glass. When we were in the club, they were doing fire twirling, and like these fireballs had real alcohol or gel on it, and that flew. And there's a part in the movie where like I wiped my forehead. My forehead was on fire. There's like some gel landed on it, and I like caught it. So we looked at playback, and I was like, jeez, because it was close to getting in my eye. But it's fun. Like I don't have tattoos, so my scars are my tattoos. I did another movie where we were fighting with machetes, and you have fake ones as you're doing wide shots, but as you get closer, you get the real ones, so they shine. And it was probably my fault, or we were just in the moment. I got too close, and so I had like 2 machete lines on my chest, or cuts from the machetes. I'm like, that's pretty cool, and they're very slight, but it's fun. Of course, my team's like, you're ruining your chest. We didn't insure it, and I'm like, you know, whatever. But I like scars.
So just to go back to Hercules, because that's big news today. One of the last people that played it was Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, what did he play? Young Hercules?
Young Hercules.
Was it a movie or a TV show?
TV show.
TV show.
Yeah. So how do you feel kind of you're going to be in the same realm now with Ryan Gosling?
That'd be amazing. I love Ryan. You know, he's a really great actor, and he's picked some really great roles. You know, personally, I don't compare myself or put myself in any kind of arena with anyone to try and compare. It's like I could compare myself to The Rock, since he's doing one. I'm no Rock. You know, we all have our own individual gifts and the way we're going to play things. And for me, I'm just proud to fulfill one of my dreams. And I'm glad we have a great, you know, we're working with Millennium, and they have a great studio over there in Bulgaria, and a really great director, producer, and I'm excited just to know who I'm acting with. So that's the best when you're on the scene. The audition process is tough. Imagining, you know, you're wearing normal clothes, but then have to act like Hercules, and you're acting out a scene where you're supposed to have a sword, but you have no sword, and then you're supposed to be fighting. The auditions are weird. They're really weird. But once you get on set, and you know, I had done a photo shoot years ago because I just love period pieces and mythology, and you know, I did this photo shoot where I wore the actual outfits, and I had the big sword and the bow and arrow. It felt awesome. Like, it really did feel like I was living a childhood dream. So I'm looking forward to it.
The funniest part of the movie for me was when you were on the motorcycle and you joust another dude,
Yeah.
and then you flip him the bird. Is that something added by you, or is
Yeah.
it in the script?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we added so much, especially with second unit with the stunts, because we were just trying to make it cool. And I was all for it. And by that point, the last week, I was doing 2-a-days where you sleep for, you know, I was just sleeping for 2 hours. I'd go from first unit with all the dialogue, be exhausted, get your third win, and then just jump on an ATV and run from some motorcycles, and you know, and just, you know, do that jousting scene. So there was a lot of like just freedom with second unit, and I think I was honestly just lost my mind at that point and really feeling it. I think I hurt him when I jousted him, but I was just so in it that I flipped him off. I didn't even remember doing it. So, and I did that in Twilight. No, Rob did that in Twilight to me. There you go, Rob.
Do you see this film as a career kind of a transition for you? I mean, what's the importance of this as far as, you know, moving forward, kind of maybe expanding your fan base a little bit?
Man, I'm a business guy, but I never do something to expand my business in a sense like that. You know, I do passion projects, and I fell in love with this one. Because I got to blow a lot of stuff up and be a part of some great action scenes that were written there, and the character was great. And of course, I always want to be working on bigger and better things, but I also want to challenge myself, and I like being the lead of stuff as well. I like being on set versus waiting in the trailer. I like being active. You know, life's too short. But also, I love traveling. Like, I love learning and becoming more worldly, and you know, just traveling. So I look for movies that take me to parts of the world that I have no idea anything about. And so with going to Indonesia, the longest flight I've ever done. You know, you see a lot of stuff while there, but you also appreciate a lot. And for it to, on a business level, you know, yeah, you want a presence on a worldly level. You know, you want to start building your fan base in areas where you aren't known. And that is a big part. Like in Asia, I know, like, I just wanted to go there. I'm fascinated with the place. I went there for my girlfriend's movie Bait, but mainly just to, you know, A, support her, but B, just come to China. And everyone's like, why are you here? You know, you don't have to be here. I'm like, I want to be here. And, you know, it means so much to them for you to come all the way and not get paid to do it or promote something because you want to promote it. A lot of actors don't like promoting their stuff. You know, they view that as work. I view it as a fun opportunity to travel and meet people from around the world. And again, they allow us to do what we love. You know, it's the least we can do is go there and give someone a hug or tell them thank you. And you know, building my market, like, I love Jet Li. I love, you know, all the actors in Expendables. Like, those are like my now acting heroes who I would love to work with. And you know, it's just important to, you know, if you have fans around the world, to pay tribute to them and go say thank you to them. Because a lot of them, I mean, when we're on our Twilight tours, there's some that never thought that any one of us would come to their small little state. I travel all the time. Like, I went to Jerusalem or to Israel, and then I went to Istanbul. And everyone, it's funny when nothing's advertised, and I don't go there to self-promote, but if I am recognized, I'm fine to take pictures. But it's funny when people, like, don't know you're coming because there's no reason for you to be there, that they don't believe that you are who you are. And it puts a smile on my face because the fans are the best.
All right, Amanda, you want to ask a question?
Okay. Aside from any movie that you've ever been in, what is your all-time favorite movie?
It's hard. It's a hard one. I can't just pick one. Lion King, the animated. That one I could watch all the time. I love Braveheart. So I'd probably, if I had to choose one, Braveheart.